Alright, in this unboxing, I have another RC car. And I told myself I wasn't going to buy more. And I know this isn't an FMS video, but FMS drops new stuff so often that I bought their new drop, and along with it, decided to get this. What is this? This is the MN82 Pro, a relative to the MN168 Range Rover. And what I find interesting is when I pick this box up and you compare it to this, it looks like the truck could be smaller. And that's what I'm thinking. If the wheels are off, maybe that's why the box seems smaller than what that one came in. But let's get this thing open. Let's pop the top on this thing. A little disappointed still that it doesn't come with a box, but what can I say? Man, this thing is tiny. It says, I mean, 12 scale, but the Range Rover is so much bigger than this. Wow, that's actually crazy to me. Okay, so there's like hardly anything in this box. Got some torn up packaging from another product that doesn't really have anything to do with this. Now, I did get this relatively cheap on alternative website, but you can pick these up for under 100 usually. I believe I paid maybe 70, 80 for this. We got some stickers, which I probably am not using those. Those look awful. We got some headlights, symbols to put on there, windshield pieces right here. We got the instruction manual, which is not for the Pro. And again, I've ordered from these companies online where I'm basically buying it overseas, and it's really strange because it's almost like I feel like they depleted their stock and then they said, what do we have? Well, we have this truck that's a Pro, but there's no instruction booklet, and we have the stickers for the tan version of the previous model, so let's just throw it all in a box and sell it for a little less. Alright, let's give this thing a look. It definitely seems smaller, which is not a bad thing. That Range Rover is pretty huge. Ooh, the tailgate works. It was pretty finicky, but doors don't open. I've always wondered what these things are for. What a weird suspension system. Trunk, the front opens with the battery, but this thing looks pretty dope. I don't have like a truck. I have the K5, but that's more of like a camper. This is like an actual truck. So yeah, first impressions, I think it looks cool. I gotta put on all the little pieces. I'm gonna slap all this stuff on here real quick, and then I'll jump cut to what that's like. Alright, I'm back. That was a little bit difficult. There's some stuff I left in this bag that I'll just throw right here, where I didn't know where to put certain things. Like on this side, it looks like there's like a little spot for a gas tank and something else. And on the instructions, it's a little silver piece, but nothing fits that. It's kind of weird. This one was harder to set up than the Range Rover, but it's together. None of the stickers are cool at all. There's not even a license plate on here. I'm not going to put any of these on this because they ain't about it. They ain't cool. Now, the setup's really weird, and a lot of people say online that this isn't necessarily a crawler in the sense of climbing rocks. I'm a fan of the Range Rover, and like I said, I bought an FMS, and with it I just said, hey, screw it, I'll get an 82 Pro, because this would be the one that I get if I didn't get the Range Rover. If they didn't have the Range Rover, I would have gotten this right off the jump. The one thing I haven't opened is the controller, and I'm getting real low on batteries here because I don't think I have any more after this. Oh, whoa. This one only takes 2. That's surprising. I thought it was going to take 4. Alright, that works. Let's put the battery in. This is the first time I've ever connected and drove this thing. Now it's really hot outside and I'm going to go out there later, but definitely not today. Really cool thing about MNs is that they have switches on the bottom. The only bad thing is if you hit a rock, and this one's very recessed, so that's not gonna happen. So we'll flip this bad boy on, flip this guy, and we're rolling already. Oh, it's got some drag, like it rolls. I wonder if I can control that. It's got light set up, which is just the lights. These buttons don't work as usual, and we got throttle rate. So that's the crawling mode right there. Let's see how slow it can go. It's kind of jerky, like I'm pushing it. See the blue light? I mean, I knew this wasn't going to be as good as the Range Rover. That one's definitely better. I can tell. I know I've just been rolling around on the table for a couple seconds, but I can tell that the Range Rover is way better. And now I understand why everyone recommends it. But this has a massive community. The 82 has so many people who've gotten one and modded it. Probably because it's an affordable truck. Interesting. Okay, so on the higher gear, it rolls. So when I throttle and let go, it has some looseness to it. Now if I switch it, it's an immediate brake. So that's probably like the crawling mode. Now I bought this knowing it wasn't going to be as good as my other guys, and the one that I'm going to unbox next, the reason why I saved it, because I had it for a couple weeks before I opened this one, is because I know I'm going to like it a lot more. It's a 24th scale. This is a 12th, and I kind of just said, hey, screw it, since I'm paying for this other one, I'll throw 70 bucks at this one. Who cares? I'll get this one as like a basher. And I need to get more wheel time, so I need to just drive around, not necessarily climb. So I think if I drive this around and beat it up, it's okay. So it's fine if I destroy this one. And plus, I'm not the type to go out and like do bashing, but the moment you have 3 or 4 RC cars, one of them is like, I don't care if I break this one. The lights are super bright. I really like the look of this one. I could have gotten the older versions. They have a red and a tan and a black, I think. But the Pro has 4-wheel drive, and it's also better than the one in here. They have a picture of the other one. That this one is really cool looking, but it's very similar to the K5 shapes. That's why I went with the Pro version, because it's silver and it's got better parts underneath. The only thing that's weird to me is this. This is a very strange setup. I don't fully understand why it's like that. Pretty weird. Also, this is angled. I don't know why. But again, this is not the craziest truck ever. It's just a truck, and I'm going to go climb with it. I've learned my lesson from the past couple videos that these are very long when I unbox these. So I'm just going to shut my mouth, and I'm going to go outside when I can. I can't today because it's scorching and it's going to get dark soon. But I'm going to go out and do an edit with this, do a session, big old session with this, and then I'll come back with my thoughts. This thing kind of surprised me. When I first opened this and started driving it, I was like, oh, this is super limited. And it is. Compared to the other ones I have, this one is definitely the most limited in its capabilities. The axles get caught, especially this right here gets caught on rocks. It doesn't have a very good clearance in the front, which I guess eventually I'll probably take the bumper off. The back is even worse with clearance. Like if you're trying to back up into something, it doesn't have much clearance. And then these things are very strange. I actually had one pop out, so I need to like go back and bend this up a little. So like the suspension is kind of strange, and the belly of it is also kind of limiting in the sense you'll climb up a rock and you just get stuck like a turtle or something and you can't move. So it's definitely limited and it's not as good as the others. But where I got surprised is this thing can go at an incline forward more than the 168 going backwards. So the Range Rover can go like 65 degrees going backwards down stuff. This thing is very impressive going down at this angle, and I was able to do things that I didn't think I could do with this. And crawling is such an amazing thing because it's like I opened this and thought it's not going to be as good. It's probably just going to be a driving around truck. It's not going to be a really good crawler, but it is. And each crawler has its own secret ability. I'm sure there's more that I need to figure out. The fact that the MN168 can like roll backwards really crazy off stuff. The fact that the 82 can go down on a slant, a very inclined slant, is really cool. It's like each car has its own special ability and you have to drive it and figure it out. On the rocks, it doesn't have very good tilt, and that's probably because these have like crunchy, like hardly any play. They're like crunchy. You can hear it. So when you're on something that's tilted, you don't have that much tilt until you just roll over. And I bang this thing up. I've only used this for a day. I used it today out in the woods and it is super banged up. I lost the clip things that go on the truck bed. The really cool thing about these rear views is that they fold in, so when it falls, it just folds in and you can keep them folded in. I thought I was gonna lose this thing. I don't know how it's still in there. Honestly, I thought this was gonna be the first thing to break. The wipers should stay in. But yeah, the little things on the back broke. Having a bed is pretty cool. I found it extremely fun to put sticks and random rocks in it when doing lines, because even if you get the line, it's funny how it flings the stuff out of the bed. So that's a whole property to a truck that I didn't think I would really like. I didn't know putting stuff in the bed would be as fun. There's a line that's probably not in the video where I went up and down this rock and I had a bunch of sticks in the bed and they fell out. And I did the whole line with the access rails and then drove all the way back and went back up to do it again. And there were sticks in the way of the path. I didn't end up getting that line, unfortunately. But if I would have, it's almost like I went ahead and then I dropped a bunch of obstacles for me to deal with on the next go around, which is something I should play with or try to figure out, because that's a pretty cool idea. Imagine you do a line and you have things in your car that fall out that make it more difficult when you go back. This is a bad example, but if you drove up an incline that's flat and you had sand in your bed and your tailgate was down, and while you're climbing it's just pouring sand, the next time you go you're gonna have no traction because you poured sand there. So that's something I'm definitely gonna play with. It doesn't really have like good shocks. It's very stiff and crunchy. That's what I would describe it as. It's way smaller than the 168, which is crazy to me because this is 12th scale and this is massive. This is nowhere near in the same realm of scale. This thing's like a whole 4 notches down from this, because the bag that I put this in, this just drops into it. I have to like shimmy this one in. One thing that's kind of disappointing is that the doors don't open on this. It would be really cool if the doors open, because there's a whole interior. Like you could put a guy in there, maybe just the torso, but there's an interior, but you can't access it. But look at this difference between these, and I'm not really complaining. I thought this was gonna be to scale to this and be crazy big, and I'm glad it's not, because this is almost like an 18th scale. I don't have an 18th, I've never held an 18th, but this seems more like an 18th scale, and this is a 12th. And compared to the FMS 24th scale, you can see it's like pretty similar in size, although this one's longer, but they're not too far off. That's why I feel like the MN168 is just massive, and this is just a little notch or two up from this. And that's perfect, because this is a different size. It kind of opens up the levels of the spots. So now I can approach things differently, because this is different wheel width apart. I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to like make this lifted. I might have to go and take things off, like the front bumper, these guide things here. Who knows? I'm not really into modding these things yet. The more they beat up and break and I lose pieces and stuff, and the longer I have this, the more likely I'd be able to like justify Dremel cutting this and just ripping into it and modding it and removing things and adding things and bending stuff so that it crawls better. But that's way down the line. But yeah, this is the MN82 Pro, and it's really cool. It surprised the hell out of me. I thought that this was going to be just the lesser of my bunch, and it is. That's the thing, it is. It's not as capable as the other crawlers I have, but it's dope. I'm glad I got this. No wonder there's such a huge community revolving this specific truck. There's so many mods out there for this too that I've seen, and I'm not really a modding type, but the stuff people do with these trucks is really cool. And after driving it, I can see why people really like it. Now before I go, I'm just gonna touch on the controller. It's no different from the 168. I like that it's big. It's a little bit more comfortable in the pistol grip than the FMS. It's just bulky, and I don't like these little clip things. But as for steering, it's okay. The thing about this is that because there's no like good shocks and suspension, that it kind of tilts and falls over easily because it's so stiff and bouncy. Also, when I unboxed it, I figured out that when you drive it and you have it in high gear, there's drag. So when you let go, it rolls. I got to double check to make it low gear, because there was some lines I was doing where I got to a point where I was going to move my position of where I was sitting, and I got on a rock where normally it would stay braked and slanted, but because I was in high gear, when I got up and let go of the throttle, the whole thing just rolled off the rock, like total crash, like destruction. What just happened? One thing about these hoods is if you do a bad crash, these will pop out and the battery will pop out, and that's part of why I forget to switch to low gear, because sometimes this will turn off. Bonus points for this one, having a recess button, so I don't think there's going to be any rock that's going to cut you off while you're driving. With the 168, you just cut off when a rock hits it. This isn't going to cut off when you hit a rock unless you hit like a super sharp point. But yeah, this thing's crazy. Like, I'm really liking crawling. I need to slow down on buying them because I have too many already. But this is a cool addition. I'm probably going to use this as like a beater, and like I said before in the opening, I'm just going to like drive it around more than I drive the other ones, because I don't care if I crash and wreck this one. But if you're looking into a trail truck, everyone highly recommends this as a trail truck. If you're just trying to hit trails, this is good. You could do some mods to give it better suspension. But as for crawling, a lot of people say that it's not good, but I'm going to say this thing is surprisingly good for crawling. It's just not very good on slow speed, so you're kind of nudging in a way. There's like, it's not a slow crawl, smooth line. It's like a with this thing. That's about the biggest complaint I have about it with crawling. Other than that, like, you can literally, as long as you try really hard, you can get this thing to crawl like these other guys do. It's very limited, but you can still pull some lines if you just focus on it. But yeah, get yourself an MN82 Pro, because this is 4-wheel drive, unlike the others, and that's the main reason why I got it. It's a pretty cool truck. Out of all the MNRC cars, I have the two that I mainly want. I might get one more that's not crawling related, maybe in the future, I don't know, just for fun. I'm not going to say which one it is, but this and the 168 are probably the best MN models, and I can see why everyone recommends the 168 for crawling, because that one definitely is better in the sense because of its suspension and portal axles and all that. But yeah, go check out MNRC. They make some really cool stuff, and they're really affordable. This thing's only like 60-80 bucks depending on where you get it from. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling because this video is already long. I love this car. This is a cool car, nice crawler. I'm gonna be using it a lot.